I assume Todd will show since he said he would. But if he got stuck at work or, yeah. You good? He's not looking good for you. There's always a bet. Every not for Sunday service, but for anything else, there's always a bet. But all money won goes to missions. There's always a standard $5 bet that nobody ever pays. Like Laura owes me thousands of dollars. No, no, no. Laura's like, yeah, no. It's all right. Well, I want to give it a few minutes and help Rory out a little bit and see if we can get closer to his number. Good evening, Cindy. How are you? Tired? Yep. Paul Huntsberger, make sure that you see me before you leave tonight. I got something I need to give you. Good to see you, friend. The schedule for this evening is I'll give the update, answer any questions you have, and then we're going to walk out back because we all like 105 degrees. And David has actually spray painted the outline of the building for us. And so we're just going to kind of stand over the outline of the building and pray over what the Lord would be doing. So that's kind of the agenda for this evening. I'm going to give it one more minute till 7:05, and then I'll pray and we'll get started. So I hope it up your numbers. I'm only using the mic for those because there's people watching. So obviously I don't need the mic for in here, but for the sake of those watching, we need to have the mic on so that they can hear. Okay, Angela. Angela's causing trouble for everybody online. All right, well, I'm going to pray. Lord, I thank you for your goodness. I thank you for your faithfulness. I thank you for the incredible blessing that you have given to us, Lord. What an incredible honor. What an incredible responsibility. Lord, I think often about the parable of the talents and making sure that we're utilizing what you've given us to the extent that we can, and that we would never bury what you've given us. And so, Lord, I pray even in this process, as we make decisions, as we move forward, that when you return, you will say, well done. And Lord, help us to continue to be transparent about where we're at, to be good stewards of the resources that we have. And Lord, we do ask that you would just bless abundantly this new building. Not the physical building, although yes, Lord, no problems, everything working, but the ministry that would happen as a result of that building, Lord, that it would just be exponential. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. Come on in. Glad you guys are here. I will have a time for question and answers at the end. If there's something that you want to ask in the middle, feel free to, just let me know. So we have changed much since we talked last. So when we talked last, it was at the business meeting in January, and we gave you building design, we had site plan, we had dollars, and dollars haven't changed that much. They have changed some, but the building design changed. And probably 6 weeks ago, David called me up and said, hey, listen, here's the choice. You can keep the building design you have, but it's going to take a year to get the metal, or we can adjust to a more standard sized building and save some money. And so we decided to go with this more standard sized building because we've already been in this process since November. So they won the bid in November. Foursquare approved everything in December. Is that the correct order? And then we had our business meeting in January, which was to update you on where we were at. They were, of course, working before November because that's how they got their bid. And here we are 7 months later, and to be honest, in my seat, it's been frustrating, not because of anything David's doing, because they're doing an incredible job, but because just the red tape with the city. And there's just nothing we can do about that. And so we felt like, at a recommendation from Rhonda, which I think was a really great recommendation, that we should gather the congregation and give an update as to where we're at. Part of the reason we haven't given much of an update is there hasn't been much to update, because we've just been waiting to go through things with the city. And so the first thing I want to show you today is the new building plan, assuming there's still somebody in the back. Sorry, Justin, thank you. And I'm going to walk you through why we changed what we changed to. I gave you the practical reason why we changed, just time and money. But we went with a more square-shaped building. So that's the plat, or I'm sorry, the site plan. Go to the, there you go. So obviously this is going to be a little hard to read. So I can get my pointer from last time, right? This was my pointer from last time. I'll use my pointer again. I should mute this though. I should buy a pointer. Here we go. So, this is our super professional. This room is obviously the big room that we will be using for ministry. The front doors are down here at the bottom of this one. Over here, you have our kitchen right here, pantry here. This is going to be, initially it'll be children's space. That room's going to be children's space. The room next to it's going to be children's space. And then you have another storage closet, the main restrooms. And then at the top, what you have is all of the offices. And so, yeah. It's 10,000 square feet, roughly. Let me pull it up on mine, and I can give you the exact measurements. I can't read that. Can you send it to me? Do you have it handy to where you can email it to me real quick? I can find it in my email. 10,000. Let me have your paper, Rory. 10,619 square feet. So the great room, the big room that we have, will be our meeting space, is 4,213 square feet, which, by the way, that's roughly the exact same as this room right here, just to give you an idea. So this room with the stage, correct, is about 4,200 square feet, and these side rooms that are walled off. The kitchen is, I'm going to use round numbers, it's 500 square feet. The middle room here is 1,050 square feet. Again, these are all just round numbers. The room right above it is 700 square feet. The room right next to it is 350 square feet. And then you have a storage, which is where tables and chairs will go. And then you have the two restrooms. And then the back wall, the top of this, is offices. And then you have two single restrooms with the showers. We are including the showers so that we can be a shelter if we ever need to be a shelter. When we had the freeze back in February 2 years ago, we had 3 families staying at the church in Southlake. So we never know when we will need something along those lines. And so it's been pretty important to me that we would have a shower so that we can do that. And so you have exit doors on the sides. If you'll go ahead and go to the site plan, Justin. He left. Sorry, Justin. The site plan will show you a better idea of where it will be situated. So you have the existing structure, you have the new structure to the back, so it's going to be behind us. Just to the east of it is where the playground will be. So if you go back one, Justin, to the building, these doors are going to exit onto the ones in the great room are going to exit onto the playground. So it'll be, and so when we get the building finished, the idea will be, go back to your site plan there, Justin. The idea will be, so we're adding an entry at the top of on the east side of our property. We're going to add an entry, and that will be the normal entry to where you'll drive down. You'll be able to come through and drop off your kids. This building is going to serve for children's on Sunday mornings. And it will be I don't know what it's going to be as far as how we're going to make it secure, but adults are not going to be allowed in that building other than to drop off kids. And so you'll have, Laura, if you can help him, you'll have, we're going to add a double set of doors here where we'll go out tonight in this room next to us. So you'll be able to come in that way if you need to come in that way, or when you're dropping off your children. So this big space will serve as the kids' church room on Sunday mornings. Obviously, it's huge. They don't need that much space at the moment, but that will serve as the kids' church room, which is currently in here on Sunday mornings. This room here will become like a 5-year-old class. The one above it will be like a 4-year-old class. It'll have a 3-year-old class. And then the thought is this room, which is where we currently office and where Laura offices, will become the nursery. Now, this is the stuff in here is phase 2. Thank you, Rory. If we have money, the idea would be to take out the wall between Laura's office and where Rory and I sit, to put some windows into these walls so that people can see in, and then to remove the walls that make up the toddler room currently so that we can have a bigger foyer, because I want a bigger foyer. I think it's important to have that place for fellowship, and so the idea is this will become our children's space on Wednesdays. On Sundays. On Wednesdays, it will be the place where we do adult ministry, and you'll have these 3 other classrooms for children's ministry if we have kids and we're doing children's ministry. And then the youth would be in this building, and they would be able to move in here if they want to move into here and have all of the luxury of all of our lights and sound and all that stuff when they're ready. I've told Tyler he can stay in there as long as he wants to stay in there. There's something to the smaller space with the smaller group. When you move into here, you get swallowed. But the thought would be is they would be able to move in here and be able to expand and do all the things that they need to do. So that's the new building design. I really loved our old building design aesthetically. I do wish we could have stayed with that. This is a really standard. We're going with the bolt up. Is that correct? So to build the metal building, you can do a weld up or you can do a bolt up. Doing the bolt up saved us $40,000+. Is that correct? 45 in labor, but that got us back to almost where we were at when we did the bids last year, because steel's gone up, and it's just kind of, and we'll talk about the money in a minute, but the bolt up is how this building will be built, and then of course it will be finished out inside. We will do our best to have a covered walk. If you want to go to the site plan again, we can't actually attach to this building per code, but we can build it in such a way that you can walk across and not get wet if it's raining. And the idea would be, for those who are dropping off kids, if dad's driving, mom and the kids can get out, mom can check the kids in and then walk into this building while dad's going to park wherever dad's going to park. And then same thing with pickup if that's how you choose to pick up. So that is the site plan. That's the building. The color of the building, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on the screen. Yeah, it doesn't show up very well. It's a dark gray with a white roof. And the hope is we'll be able to one day paint this building the same color, and it will be able to match. But until we're able to do that, the red and the gray will go really well together, and it kind of matches the school next door. So, in an effort to kind of keep some consistency there. Where we're at in regards to permitting, we've done the drainage study. For those of you who didn't know, the city required us to do a 30-acre drainage study. Is that what it was? Yes. All surrounding us, which David will tell you made me not so happy because, one, they charged us for it, and two, they literally just built this school. Like, it just opened in August. Why in the world do we have to do a drainage study for the little amount of displacement that we're going to do? But they made us do a drainage study, and that took 4 months, 3 months?
It was supposed to take 6 months.
And took
but it took 3.5 months.
3.5 months. And that's been our biggest delay, because as soon as we set out to do that was the first thing they said we had to do. And so we waited on that, and then we did the plat, which is it's been approved. So the drainage study was done and approved. The plat has been done and approved. We're in the middle of our forestry permit right now. Our hope is next week. We're waiting on Foursquare, but our hope is next week to order the building. And obviously that's a big, huge next step, because then we can lock in the price on the steel and we can get that process started. During the process of the steel getting here, we're going to do the building permits, the grading permits, the utility permits, which include HVAC, electric, and plumbing. Right now, the city's asking us to do a traffic study, which, again, we're pushing back on. We're hoping that we won't have to do it, because our traffic's not going to change anything. Like, what we're currently doing is what we're currently doing. They want $10,000 for this traffic study, and so David and his team are working to try to push back on the city, and maybe we won't have to do that. Right now we do, but we're hoping we won't have to do it. All the utilities will be run down this side of the property is the current plan, unless we get told something different. It is our desire to go ahead and attach this building to the utilities. For those of you who don't know, we're currently well water, septic, and propane. And when we go out back, you're going to see our propane tank that's going to have to be moved. When they're running the utilities, we are hoping to be able to get permits to add this building to it and get on city water and city sewer and change over to gas. Yeah.
So we've already been approved for.
I'm going to repeat this for those who are watching. So I'm not.
Sewer and water has already been approved to be connected.
So we've already been. Okay, we've already been approved. Again, I'm not repeating for you. It's for everybody online. We've been approved for adding this building to water and sewer. The gas is waiting, is what he just stated. So that's a huge win. We weren't even planning that at the beginning. That was some information I learned from our pastor in Waxahachie, and was really grateful. Maybe you were planning it, I don't know, but I wasn't. It wasn't in my plans, and I am really excited that we get to do that, because I don't think our septic tank has a lot longer. And at the point that goes bad, there's no way the city would have let us put in another one. And so this is actually a huge blessing that we're able to do that. And I'm very grateful. I don't know the costs, the additional costs for adding that yet. That hasn't been stated to me yet. But it's literally, running from the edge of the driveway to the building. We're not paying to run this building from the street. We're paying to run the building in the back. So they're going to run it right by it. So we're going to go ahead and hook up. All of the permitting will be done while the building's while the steel is getting put into place and then shipped here. The utilities are all going to be run at that time. The foundation is going to be done at that time. So hopefully, as soon as the metal gets here, they can begin erecting the building. And the time frame. If I'm understanding correctly, and David, you can correct me. First of all, understand weather plays a part. So there could be delays that we don't have any control over. But currently, we're looking at 11 months, right, from when we order the building. So if we can order the building next week, we're looking at 11 months to be in that building. And so that would be awesome. It would be wonderful. I keep telling Pam it's going to be ready for VBS next year, and we're gonna blow it away for VBS next summer. So I'm hoping by the time the kids get out of school in May that we're moving in, end of May, 1st of June, and that would be really, really awesome. So before I get into the numbers of everything, as far as finances and stuff, you guys have questions about all of the stuff that I just said, which was a lot. You guys are easy. Nothing? You have no questions? Paul? How tall is that building?
16-foot
16-foot
walls.
walls?
This with a similar pitch, but the roof line will go the opposite direction.
Second floor.
So yes, we got to be really careful, because right now we are at our max parking lots available through the city, and so.
It's an after the fact question, Paul.
Yes, but we are planning on that area above the office spaces that you see over there. That's going to be left void of any
I asked, sorry, I'm getting a question online, and I don't know what's actually being asked. Of course, it's Pastor Leo wanting to interject. He must interject. Yeah, I am doing my best, Justin, to repeat for online. So what David just said, Paul asked the question, is the building tall enough for a second story? The answer to that is yes, later. We are not attempting to add a second story at this point because of the amount of parking spaces needed for adding that kind of square footage. Once we get the building built, we have so much that we want to do in phase 2. A second story over there would be phase 3. Phase 2, which we don't even have blueprints for and things like, it's all just it's in conversation. We've had many conversations about it, but I mean, it could be $100,000. Like, we want to take out walls. We want to take out walls over here. I want to turn Pam's current office into additional restrooms, and because we don't have enough restrooms in this building, and make that office have that room become like the women's restrooms, and these two become the men's restrooms, and try to expand some of those things. But that's all phase 2 stuff. Phase 3 would be a second floor if needed, but it does have the ability to do it, but we're not looking to do that at this point. One of the biggest reasons is parking and what's needed. So in the site plan, which we don't need to go back to, the site plan states that we have to have 173 parking spaces to be code, and we have 199 parking spaces in the plan. So that's where we're currently at with parking spaces. Right now, just to give you an idea, I think we have 83 parking spaces plus what we do in the field. So we're going to more than double our number of parking spaces. What else? What other kind of questions do we have? Did Leo clarify his question? Sorry, I really don't know what it is, Leo, that you were asking. I am not avoiding answering your question. So if you could clarify for me, that would be great. Any other questions? Yeah, Matthew. Okay, so let me repeat the question for those who are watching. The question is, because we're doing a bolt up on the building instead of a weld up on the building, does that affect the structure and the stability of the structure? David?
So on a pre-manufactured building, which is what this is, a bolt up, it's got a lot more guidelines that they have to adhere to with the welding and everything. So it's still going to have the welding process done. It's just going to be off-site. You're going to be better quality welds with a bolt up, and the bolt up here.
There's no way I'm going to be able to repeat all that. Well, you're just going to have to walk over here, man. Sorry, that was a lot, and it's really good, but okay. I know if I try to repeat that, I'm going to mess it up.
All right, so with a bolt up, it's a pre-manufactured building, so we'll be able to, well, one of the biggest reasons of pre-manufactured building is we'll be able to span the distances just like this building is. We have a large open span where we don't have any pillars in the way of areas. A weld up would require some of those pillars because they can't span the distances that we're wanting to get with the bigger room. So by going with a bolt up, we're able to do that. The pre-manufactured has much higher guidelines on the welding process because there is welding involved. They just ship all the pieces to us and we bolt it up. So you're not losing any integrity.
What other questions do we have? Yeah. No, you're fine.
Can we have shade, like extra trees or something planted so that we have lots of shady parking spots?
So can we have shady parking spots? Go to that site plan for me. Well, let me speak to it a little bit. On the east side of the property, halfway back, it's already a tree line. So all of that would have shade. On Sundays, the sun goes like this, right? Because it goes from east to west. By the time church gets out, it's right above us, so there's not much you can do. You'll get a little bit from the building. in the back and on that side, but not much. The playground will have some shade from the building, and that to me is more important than the parking spaces. You asked about planting trees. It is our desire to plant some trees at the back where the berm is at to kind of beautify the back side of the property, because I don't think, I mean, my office is in the back. All of the offices are in the back. I don't think we want to just look at that berm and all of the weeds growing there. So we want to plant some trees back there. Also replacing some of the trees we're going to have to pull down just for the building. And so that'll be an answer to some of that. So it's not a bad question. And one of the things that I've seen, it's not in our plan right now in any way, so I don't want to like blow smoke at you or anything, but like what your father-in-law has for the pool, that fabric, a sail shade, I think you could put some of those off of the new building to also protect the playground. Like I said, I'm way more concerned about the playground being cool enough for the kids to be on than I am the parking spaces. But yeah. Yeah, Kim. It is the same size, roughly. This is, my understanding, this building is 9,990 square feet. And this building's like 10,600, I think. We are losing the outdoor patio because of the shape of the building. The shape of the building allowed to have that patio between the two. Because this building is shaped in such a way that it is, the outdoor area will be the playground area, and maybe whatever is behind the playground area, but there's not the same outdoor space. And I was really disappointed in that. It's, I mean, it might be 400 square feet, 500 square feet. So for those online, Kim asked the question about the outdoor area that was in the original design. Probably I spoke to that enough in answering already. David responded with as well the need to add parking spaces to meet code. So you could have got some of that at the back of the building, that's where we really added the parking spaces to get into code. The other thing, Kim, how I'm satisfying myself with the fact that we're not going to have it, is we probably would have used it 3 times a year, 4 times a year, because it's so hot. Like, we're not going to just be outside burning fires and, you know, all this stuff. And so I really was disappointed because I really liked that. I had seen that in another church that's one of our Foursquare churches, and I really loved how they did that. But at this time, yeah, we can't. We can't do the building, the parking spaces, and the outdoor space. So everything from the existing structure, basically, if you go straight up, none of that parking is currently here because that's all field. And then you get an additional row, an additional double row up front. So that's where your additional parking is coming. And we've added the east entrance to go with the west entrance. Other questions about the building before I get into the numbers? Yes, Michelle. So that's a really great question that we've been talking about for the last 24 hours incessantly. Currently, it is an asphalt bid, and we can't afford concrete at the current concrete rate. We have petitioned a number of companies we have this much budgeted for asphalt. Would you be willing to do the concrete for the asphalt price and get a tax write-off for the rest of it? So far, that's not been received very well, and I understand they got to make their money. I'm not bothered by that at all. But if anybody knows concrete people that are actually friends, not like you just know somebody. If you know somebody who you would love to have David talk to, we're reaching out to anybody. I would prefer a concrete parking lot, and I would even pay more. So we have there's $200,000 in the budget for the parking lot, for the asphalt parking lot. And it's probably, with the inflation, it will probably be a little bit more. We don't have that exact number yet, but I would be willing to pay. Okay, let me back up because I have council members in here. I would be willing to go to our council and suggest we should increase our money that we have set aside for contingency to put in a concrete parking lot, but it's double what we even have for contingency. So the bid we got today was 700,000 to do it's 70,000 square feet of concrete. That's not including the foundation. That's a different company that's doing that. It's tied to the building. So, like, I could recommend to the council we could throw another 100,000 into it and really hope that everything comes in right at budget, which would put us at 300,000. But I mean, 700,000 is it's just not something we just don't have it. Yeah, Michelle. That's a good question, Michelle. The answer to that at the moment is no. I was not intending to just open it up to the congregation, because to go into a building fund at this point would then inhibit us from being able to move forward. So we can't, if we're going to try to raise 700,000, or let's say 400,000, to make up the difference if the council were to be okay with the 300,000. We couldn't move forward on getting the concrete done until we had the extra 400,000. And we have to do the parking spaces in order to do the building. Yeah, we have to have the parking space. To get permitted and to get occupancy, the parking spaces have to be done. Yep. That's what for 700,000, basically anything that's not a building and not up here would be concrete. And not the playground area, obviously. This is so you have the wrap around this building is fire lane code. You have to have that for fire lanes, and so that's, yeah. So yeah, sorry, you were. We're not doing the parking lot until the building's built. If it was concrete, we would do the parking lot today. Like, I would go out there, I would personally start digging up this horrible, looks like it's third world bombed asphalt, but it's not really that bad. On this side of the building, because of the dump truck, it's bowing up super bad. I am so embarrassed by it. It just looks so trashy. If we were doing concrete, we would do that now, because the concrete would be able to bear the weight of the big trucks. But because we're doing asphalt at the moment, we aren't going to do the parking lot till after that's done. Once the metal's here and the building's erected, it's going to take 5 months. Is that the correct amount of time? Once the building's erected, once the building's here and it's erected, it's going to take 5 months to finish it out. So you have 5 months of finish out work happening where the big trucks aren't coming in, that we would be doing the parking lot. That would be happening at the same time. Is that a correct statement of timeline? So okay, so I understand the question now. You're asking, we have 5 months. Can we raise 400,000 in 5 months? Yeah, I said that too. I was using Rory as the example. We would call it the Frank parking lot, and I would give you a parking space for yourself, for your grandkid, and for your great grandkid. Yeah. I Sure. Let me just. I want to be careful what I say, because one, all of that's council approval, and I don't want to commit to something or not commit to something. We have a council meeting actually on Monday, and I'm assuming this will now be part of our conversation. It was not on the docket. Thank you, Michelle. I think my answer, if I'm just processing in 10 seconds, right? Like, I've not had time to really filter the request and the process. If we have 4 months to raise money or 5 months to raise the money, and we wanted to put it out there as a, hey, if you really want this, then you'll give to it. Um, I'm also like about to ask for school supplies, and I'm also about to ask for the Thanksgiving outreach and the Christmas outreach, and like Ben, the pastor in me, because I'm not a builder. Like, this is going to be awesome for what we're going to do for pastor, for not me, but for pastoring people, for loving people, for caring people. I actually don't care about building a building, like personally, and I need to be able to weigh this well. Man, if I had $400,000, you know what I would do with it? Like, for loving the community. So there's that mix of what is the best use of funds and the requesting of funds, because when we start asking, like, you get one ask, right, or two asks. You can't just keep asking and asking and asking. And like, our annual budget is $400,000, so we would be literally having I think it's $460,000. Is that our annual budget? Does that sound about right, Paul? So we would be asking the church to double in half a year what we do annually in extra giving. And I'm sure there are people who would be willing to do it. So I know that sounds like lack of faith, and I'm just trying to process it all, but be honest with you. I want to be transparent with the request and not just, sideswipe it and not answer the question. Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Oh yeah, so what she's saying, for those who are online and for those who can't hear, asphalt is significantly the heat hot. It's significantly warmer than the concrete, and you have to reseal it. You have to do the upkeep on it, and what are the costs involved with that? Those are all very real things. And the other thing that Rory brought up today, because we've been having this conversation about concrete, and I'm asking the Lord, I would really love a concrete parking lot, and we're putting out we hit 2 companies up today. We haven't heard back from one of them. Like, we are genuinely asking for reasonable bids so that I can bring something back to the council or to the congregate. Like, if it was 400,000, I would come to the church in a heartbeat, because I think we could come up with 100,000 in 4 months or 5 months. 400,000 is just a lot of money, but we're already at more than whatever I know what to do with. So, like, it's already way above my pay grade. So, right, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, Kim. We could add a building fund to that. Yeah. Well, okay. So I appreciate the comment, and I want to speak to it. What you said, I don't know if what you meant is what you said, and I just, because, no, it's okay. I just want to make sure that we're all saying the same thing. The suggestion is, so when you give online, you have youth, children's, general, mission. Is there anything else? I think those are the basic drop down. So when you click to do what? So yeah, so when you click to give, you can give to those 4 categories. The question is, can we add a building category? And the answer is yes, we can. There's nothing restricting us in our bylaws. There's nothing restricting us other than just opening it up, making a tab for it. And then you said then people can just give their giving to that. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure, because I'm not okay with that, because we still got to do everything else. And extra giving could be to that, yes. And it's so hard because we're not a church that really talks about, like, I'm not somebody who really puts out there, give. Our offerings are 30 seconds on a Sunday morning, and like that's it. So there's a little bit of a how do I do this, because I'm not good at this kind of thing. Michelle? Yeah, no, you're fine. I mean, you can't come back to church here after this, but I'm teasing. Just to a different place, right? Yeah. Michelle, for those watching online, again, I'm sorry. What she said is oftentimes people do tend to just give their normal, whatever they're going to give, whether it's a tithe or it's a percentage, whatever, to they would just switch it. And, we're in the season right now where people give their camp money to, instead of tithing, they will just give it as camp money. And I get it. There's no rebuke. I don't think anybody in this room is doing that. If you did, I'm sorry. I'm not picking on you. It's just I get it. People got, this is what we have, and so this is where I could give. And yeah, Rhonda. Sure. So the way that we would have, you're correct. And if it's directed funds, it has to go to directed things, which is why what she said was actually correct. She said just call it building project. And then it, but if you just call it building project instead of parking lot, it will go to the building project. Like that, I think if you just make it generic enough, if yes, if you're like we had somebody who gave when we were in South Lake, I think it was like $3,000 to a softball field. It was literally lined item a softball field because they wanted the property next door to us to be a softball field, and we could do nothing with those funds because it was and rightfully so. We want to do what the person giving is directing it towards, and so I think after like 7 years, we were like, hey, listen, man, clearly the softball field's not going to happen. Can we? I'll give it back to you, or can we put it towards something else? And they did give us the permission. So you're correct. It would have to be worded in such a way that, yeah, it was because it could then, like what she said, it could go to phase 2 in here if we ended up doing an asphalt parking lot. But there would be people who would be disappointed, right? Like, I thought we were going to get a concrete parking lot, and it's such a fine line of. I think people know we're transparent and we're going to be as upfront and honest with whatever we do. But yeah, it's not a bad idea, Michelle. I'm not committing or not committing, one, because I'm not legally allowed to, and two, I honestly don't know how I feel about it. I genuinely, I don't know what I think. I don't want to, my dad has this statement. If he's watching, he's going to be smiling because I've given him grief about this statement. His ministry is trying to build out something that will raise funds as well. It's an income stream as well as an opportunity for the gospel to go forward. And he wants to save 20% of what he's doing for the gospel to go forward, and income stream 80% of it. And what he uses for his statement is, I want to milk the goats to feed the sheep. That's his statement. I want to milk the goats to feed the sheep, because it's going to be the world that's using the 80%, not necessarily the church or believers. But the idea would be then that the 20% would be able to have the gospel go forward in perpetuity. And so it's a great statement. And the analogy doesn't work in here because we're all the sheep. And I don't know how, I get so hesitant in how many times we can ask for an additional offering. And it wouldn't be an ask every week. I know that. And I've been in churches that have done the building funds and they've done it well. You know, there's whole strategies, there's whole industries built on the strategy of raising funds. I haven't taken those classes. Again, I'm not committing one way or the other, Michelle, and please, it's a great idea. I'm not suggesting in any way that it's not. Any other questions before I move to the numbers? Okay. When this project started, we had roughly, and here we go with roughly, this is with the interest. There is no roughly. I'm giving you exact numbers. $1,969,706. We had $80,000 in contingency, giving us a total of $2,049,706. Our bid that was won by TD Construction was $1,771,260. At this point, we are $44,418 over budget. So I can tell you what those are. It's the $7,500 for the drainage study. That wasn't in the initial bid. It wasn't something that we knew we were going to have to do. It's $10,000 for the traffic study. We are hoping we don't have to do that, and we can not actually give those funds out. But at this point, it's on the docket. We got to pay it. We got to do it. We just haven't actually spent it yet. The current dollar amount for the forestry permit is $7,100. I want to just say thank you, because David is personally knocking this out himself, so that it's not going to cost us that much. You guys should know, setting aside the contractor hat, and he's both, right? He's friend, he's a congregant, and he's contractor. And for those who don't know, he was contractor first, and then liked the church and decided to become a congregant. So there was no nepotism involved in the hiring of David and their company. He is doing everything he can to keep the costs down. And he's personally doing legwork that he wouldn't be doing if it was necessarily another job, because he doesn't have to do it, but because he wants to be as good a steward as he possibly can for his church. He's doing the legwork himself. And I want to tell you in front of them how much I really do appreciate that, David. I know you're doing that. It doesn't always get communicated, but I know you're doing that. So right now there's $7,100 that is being assigned. We're hoping that will be reduced because of the legwork that David's doing. And then just the cost of the steel because of inflation. It's gone up $19,818, and that's with the reduction in cost by doing the bolt up instead of the weld up. So it would have been, did you tell me $40,000 more dollars to do the weld up? $45,000 more to do the weld up on site, and it would have taken longer, right? So meaning the total building cost at the moment is going to be $1,815,678 instead of the $1,771,260. So the difference right there is the $44,000, which leaves us currently in contingency and the money that's designated specifically for building from the sale of the property in South Lake at $234,028. That $234,000 is there to cover the overages. Like, we don't know what it's going to cost to attach the building yet, right? The water and the sewer, that wasn't in the initial bid. We're going to have to remove the sewer, the septic tank. That wasn't in the initial bid. Not in his bid is the cost to move the playground over here. That's between $15,000 and $20,000, and we knew that. That's not an unknown cost to the council. That's not an unknown cost to the congregation, but that's not in their bid. Their bid, they're not doing that. That's another company doing that. And so we don't know what other overages are going to come as a result of inflation. David is doing, like I said, everything he can to keep those numbers down. But we don't want to be foolish with that $234,000, because that's our phase 2 money. If it's there, that's also the money that it will take for any overages. We've committed to you. We're not going to take out a loan, certainly without coming back and talking to you. And none of the council wants to take out a loan. So I'm not comfortable at this point even asking for a loan to do a concrete parking lot, because we committed to doing this with the cash that we have. We want to remain debt-free, and I am committed to doing that as much as I can. I am committed, and I'm not doing anything. David is committed, and Rory is committed. Our council is committed to managing the expectations, and we're making decisions like it would have cost us more money to have the building that I really liked. It would have taken more time, but that wasn't the best stewardship of the resources, and so we're not doing that. It wasn't the best stewardship of time, so we're not doing that. Yeah, so that's the money numbers. Questions about the money? That doesn't include anything that's in the general fund. So our general fund is healthy at the moment. That doesn't include the designated accounts. Those are also, like, the youth account has money and children's account has money. And like, we have designated accounts if you wanted to give to missions, you could do that. Those that none of the dollars that's not our operating budget. That is all outside of the operating budget for the church. Any questions about the money? Any questions about the building? Am I getting any questions in text? Javier wants to know, is there any possibility of putting solar panels on the new or the existing building to offset our electric bill? We'd also be able to have an on-site battery to continue to have power if there's a power outage. Javi, I have no idea. Certainly there's a possibility of it. We haven't investigated it, and I don't know how that works with non-residential commercial properties. I don't know if it's a different deal with commercial properties versus residential properties. Certainly it's not something I'm opposed to, but honestly, Javi, we haven't done any investigating into that at all. But, you know, Joe asked if we were going to have any shade. The answer is no. So maybe we can use that sun for something. I know there are people who have mixed feelings about solar. Some have good experiences, some have bad experiences. We would definitely investigate it. We wouldn't want to take out a loan for the panels. We wouldn't want to take out a loan for the battery. So there's a lot of cost even in doing that. And so we can have that conversation at another time down the road. Other questions? Yes, Angela.
The money for the concrete or asphalt, whichever.
I have somebody who's willing to give us the money for the. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Me too, Angela. Really, truly, me too.
Now, is that money, when you were talking about that dollar amount, is that in the contract bid amount?
There's 200,000 in the contract bid for asphalt. There's I'm gonna round up. There's 150,000 in the contract in the bid for ground moving and all of those things. And so between those two, we believe the asphalt will be taken care of. Is that? That's a correct. I don't want to put words in. I'm not trying to pin anything on you. The grading is 160, which is part of what will have to happen for the asphalt, and then we have 200,000 specifically budgeted for the asphalt.
But that's different than the other extra 200,000 we have for phase 2.
Correct. Yeah. No, that's all in the asphalt is the parking lot as an asphalt parking lot is in the bid from TD and has been approved already. Again, it may be. I think it was what $3.15. Maybe it's $3.25 when we get to there, and at 70,000 square foot, 10 cents makes a difference. But until we can bid it and get a contract, which we can't do till we have all the grading permits done. And can you bid it once you have the grading permits, or do they have to be able to go?
They're asking, in order to get an official contract bid, they're asking for the grading because they don't know exactly how much dirt they're going to have to move.
Sure.
To make it happen.
So let me just repeat what he just said. In order to get the bid and lock in the price on either the concrete or the asphalt, we have to have the grading permit done, which will happen as soon as we get the forestry permit done. And is there a time frame on what you think that's going to be?
It's going to be submitted this week.
So it'll be submitted this week, and then it's just the time for the city to approve it. Any other questions? And like I said, you can be praying. We are praying for one of the people that here's another question. What about furnishing the building? Where is that cost covered? Is that there's none of that in your, there's furnishings for the kitchen, Richard, appliances.
Things like the utilities, the toilets and all that, it's all part of.
But not like the tables and chairs and the office equipment. That's not in the bid. Yes, because that would not be a bid coming from the contractor. That's part of the $234,000. And you're going to keep hearing there's a lot going in to that $234,000, and I know that. Joe? We haven't gone that far. What we will be buying for the big space is round tables, and I would like to not buy these kinds of chairs. As comfortable as they are, you can't get as many people around the table. So I would like to get event type chairs. Hopefully we can find them at a reduced price or even used, like you said. Regarding the office stuff, I have no idea. We're not there. We have in the past bought used stuff from surplus spaces. Yeah. You're fine. Yeah, Michelle, I will answer it with yes, of course it's a possibility. And I don't feel like you're badgering, so please don't. I can hear that in your voice. I know you well enough to know that that's what you're thinking. I don't feel that. I'm not allowed to commit to anything till I have a conversation with the council. So, I am committing to you. It will be on the agenda for Monday night's council meeting. Yep. Yep. Sure. Yeah, at any point you can do that. I mean, we always, sure, absolutely. The answer is yes, and it's actually our intention when the building's done, and we've evaluated where we're at financially. Those kinds of things, we've already had a conversation with the school next door, and verbally, although not as a contract, so I want to be real clear about that. There's no like, but verbally they've said to me, we can put recreational stuff into the field here. We just have to understand they own it. So if we put asphalt down over there and do a basketball court, it's theirs. And they can do whatever they want to with it whenever they want. If we put a sand volleyball court over there, which is something I really would like to do, they can take it down at any point. But they are okay with us using that property because of the relationship we have with them. But that's not, I want to be real clear, that is not an official yes if we have to sign things. It's just a verbal, yeah, you can do that. We're already parking there and they're fine with that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you were here for the Easter event, that whole field was cars for parking. And they are comfortable with us doing that. Anything else? I always want to be transparent. I always want to answer your questions as best I can and be as honest with you as I can. I know there are things. This is my first building project. I have put together a prayer team of people who have built buildings before and have done this. And I want you to know I'm not doing this by myself because I would fail miserably. This is way above me, and I'm intimidated by that. I'm not scared by that. I recognize this is only the Lord, and we've got a great team that's helped build Rory as our on-site building project manager, what David's doing as the general contractor. We got a great team that's doing an incredible job, and in no way do I want to communicate anything other than this is going to be awesome. And the only reason you haven't seen ground moved yet is because the city has prevented us from doing it. That is it. We are not dragging our feet on anything. In fact, David's probably annoyed with me asking him, when are we gonna? Because I am ready to see this thing go up because I know what it represents as far as opportunities for ministry. And I'm excited about it. Okay, well then here's how I'd like to close. I'd like to go out this door and then out this door. And David, we can. Tyler asked us to go out that door so that he would know, but we can do this door and just tell them. Okay, we're going to go out this door because that's Rory's recommendation. It's safer, and that's why we're going to go out that door. David has spray painted the outline of where the building's going to be physically with the site plan. And I'd like to just kind of spread out around it and just pray over what God would do. Because guess what? He's really smart and he's doing a really great job. And he's really smart and he's doing a really great job. And God gave us all this money, but we still need him. Like, we are nothing without him. And I am so grateful that he gave it to us, but I know we're nothing without him. So can we just kind of close with praying out there? Is that all right? I won't keep you out there super long, I promise. I know it's hot. If you're watching online, peace. I love you. See you Sunday. Michelle would like for you to bring money for the building project.